So, today we're going to talk about something that actually happened. A story that starts thousands of feet up in an airplane, but it tells us something really profound and honestly a little unsettling about how we act right here on the ground.
It seems like a simple question, right? But the answer, well, as you're about to find out, it's super complicated, it's messy, and believe me, it has some very, very real consequences.
All right, let's get right into it. Picture this. The year is 2016. You're on a totally normal American Eagle flight, just a quick trip from Philly to Syracuse. Everything seems completely fine. You know, business as usual. Or is it?
So on this particular flight, we've got a woman. People would later say she was very cautious, and she's just settling in. And the guy who sits down next to her, well, she immediately thinks he looks strange. And right there, just like that first little seed of suspicion gets planted.
So let's watch how this whole thing builds, because what starts as just a simple little observation is about to spiral completely out of control into a major security incident.
Okay, so the guy pulls out a notepad and just starts writing. The woman next to him kind of glances over and sees he's just scribbling away, like really fast. But the thing is, what he's writing, it doesn't look like English. It doesn't look like any language she recognizes at all. To her, it just looks foreign, alien even. And that's when the alarm bells start going off in her head.
And you can just imagine what's going through her head, right? Her brain doesn't go, I wonder what that is. Nope, it just leaps straight to the worst case scenario. Are those symbols? Codes? Is he planning something?
So what's driving all this fear? Well, she later told the authorities that her whole judgment was based on this mental checklist. His hair was a bit unkempt, he had brown skin, and, in her own words, he looked like an Arab. That was it. That was the profile she built in her head.
And once that idea was locked in her mind, her fear just completely took over. It turned into this feeling, this sense of duty that she had to do something about it. And she had to do it right now.
And from there, man, things moved fast. She scribbles a secret note and slips it to a flight attendant. Then she fakes being sick just to make absolutely sure the plane doesn't take off. And it works. The pilot actually turns the plane back to the gate. The next thing this guy knows, he's being escorted off the plane for questioning.
And we're not talking about a quick, hey, what's up on the jet bridge? No way. He was taken away and interrogated by security for 2 whole hours. Think about that. 2 hours of his life gone, all because someone saw him writing in a notebook.
So, after all that drama, the plane turning around, the interrogation, everything, you have to wonder, who was this guy? Was any of her caution actually justified?
And that's the big question, isn't it? The whole story, this entire chain of events, it all comes down to who he is. Was he really a serious security threat? Was he actually a danger to anyone on that plane?
Well, meet Guido Menzio. He's a professor of mathematics at the University of Pennsylvania, an Ivy League professor, a super well-respected Italian economist, literally one of the brightest minds in his field.
And that strange script, those secret codes he was writing, it was math. Just math. He was reviewing differential equations for a lecture he was about to give. That terrifying threat was nothing more than a professor doing his homework.
You know, it's easy to laugh this off as some kind of crazy misunderstanding. But the crucial point here is that it's not funny. It's actually a really stark example of a much bigger, very real problem.
I mean, just look at this breakdown. The perception versus the reality. The assumption? A terrorist plot, a dangerous man. The reality? A professor prepping for a math lecture. That huge gap between the two, that's where the real danger is.
When you get right down to it, this whole mess was fueled by one thing: ignorance. And I don't just mean not knowing what a differential equation looks like. I'm talking about a deeper kind of ignorance. The kind where a simple lack of understanding can instantly turn into fear. And that fear, well, it leads straight to accusation. It really drives home a simple point, doesn't it? Not everything we fail to understand is some kind of threat. Curiosity could have been the antidote here. Just imagine if she'd asked the simple question, like, "Excuse me, what's that you're working on?" This whole thing could have been avoided.
So we want to leave you with this final thought.
It's really easy to point fingers at the woman on the plane and judge her, right? But what's way harder and way more important is to turn that question back on ourselves, to ask, when have our own assumptions, our own fears, turned a totally innocent person into a threat in our minds just because they were a little unfamiliar?